Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank the panel for being here this morning. Great thought leaders here. Mr. Johnson, you brought up a subject that's kind of near and dear to my heart, that after the debacle of last spring with our banks, I came up with, and as looking at this from outside the box here and coming up with some ideas of how the kind of risks that we're taking there, from the standpoint that, a gentleman was sitting actually in Mr. Scott's seat, who was the chairman or the president of the board of CBB, and said he had $42 billion run out in 10 hours. And to me, this is as a result of a tweet. We're living in a different world than we did 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 months ago. And now you brought up something in your comments with regards to artificial intelligence. I sit on the China Select Committee. It scares the heck out of me because we've just handed the Chinese the way to mess with our banking system and our economy. All you do is short sell tonight, go up tomorrow morning with a tweet, or had an artificial intelligence Facebook post of Larry Kudlow, Bloomberg, Dave Ramsey, somebody who was respected in the investment field. It could be an artificial individual on there, and nobody could tell the difference. I've seen these commercials myself. You can't tell the difference between. And you have somebody of that reputation go up there and say, I've got 100 banks that are in trouble. And suddenly it's like, wow. And you have real-time payments. You have instantaneous ability to make these transfers, and all of a sudden now you do have a run. People kind of laugh at me when we talk about runs. I say, we had a run on toilet paper 3 years ago. Don't tell me you can't have runs. I think people value their money more than they do toilet paper. But so, one of the things I think that we need to do is have the ability of the regulators, FDIC in this situation, to have, and you made this comment with regards to transaction guarantee of accounts for a short period of time, to be able to stymie this sort of run, nip it in the bud before there's a contagion here that goes through the entire system. I appreciate your comments on that.
Congressman, I think you're exactly right on all the dimensions there, including the fact that the AIs can already fake images and messages very credibly. And then the point made by Gary Gensler, actually, when he was still on the faculty at MIT before he joined the SEC, was we should think about a future in which financial institutions tend to use similar AI engines themselves internally, which will be reacting to the messages from the outside, which will just exacerbate the speed of runs. So that's exactly why having the FDIC with the Treasury and arguably with the Fed, because they can all move fast, giving them the ability to put a temporary transaction account guarantee program in place very quickly, I think is exactly the right direction to go. This would not be a substitute for the other things we're talking about today with discount window, but it would be a complement, and I think it would be very consistent with the objectives of this committee.
I think it's a tool. The regulators need to have a toolbox. I'm not trying to protect a single bank here. I'm trying to protect the system from going down when you have a run that can be a contagion that could spread to everything. Mr. Scott, I know your comments in your written testimony was similar along that line. Would you like to comment at all?
On this point?
Yes.
Yep. Well, I agree with Professor Johnson that I think this power needs to be restored. I think a key idea of the Congress at the time was it could restore it, okay, by a joint resolution. I think given the speed by which these runs occur, that's impractical, okay, to get a joint resolution in time to actually get the authority to extend.
That's the point of my bill, is the fact that we can't sit here and wait for Congress to act. The regulator has to have this tool and toolbox that they can instantly make this situation resolved and not have to wait on Congress. And so
yes.
For a short period of time, they have the authority to do this. At the end of 30, 60 days, we pick a time frame, then Congress can act and extend it or not extend it, and then you're off and running. But we live in a different world where this instantaneous ability to do things today is such that we've got to be able to instantaneously react. And if we don't, I'm fearful. So I have a bill to do that. I appreciate your comments on that. Mr. Scott, with regards to the term funding, the short-term funding programs that the Fed's put together here, I kind of like them to keep this program up and running. I know you're not a big fan of that, but so the question, it begs the question that, we have the problem that happened last spring was we had some interest rate problems. Some banks were upside down on interest rates on long-term, short-term. Has those rate problems dissipated yet? Or do we have some banks? I guess, do we have some banks still with liquidity problems as a result of long-term assets being for lower rates?
I'm sorry, little hard of hearing sometimes.
Okay.
I don't get you. I don't think they need to keep it in place because my basic point is it's not necessary at all. If they're going to do this kind of thing, it should be through the window, okay? Through the
Isn't the window for short-term, is
authority.
the window for short-term lending versus the need to have some long-term liquidity here?
No, but in terms of having this liquidity,
Yeah.
I think the policies under,
The gentleman's time has expired.
I don't think we need to extend this facility.
All right, thank you. I yield back.
Thank you. The gentleman from Georgia,